How we doing? Let's see if we're here. I'm not sure. So live in Look, look, look. Hang on, hang on. Here. I think I'm here. Have you been patient? I think we're good. Look, there we are. Oh, blessed be. Okay, let me cover up my back of my phone. Look at that. So all that worry, right? I'm right here. We're right here. Look at us. Oy vey, huh? She wants you to pay attention. So thank you for being patient. This is where we really get to see how our yoga practice is working. So here's a great example. Like, it just doesn't get any better than this. Right, our live stream started technically 18 minutes ago. And the question really is, what has happened inside of you over these 18 minutes? I've gotten a blast of emails from all sorts of folks, confused, etc. I didn't respond to any of those. My apologies. I was working on the technology. Andrea in New Jersey was getting a new link set up. We're not sure what's going on. This is just, I'll just say that Streamlabs, which is our middleman at the moment, is very complicado, huh? Very complicado. So we are trying to get rid of that. That's why I keep saying, would you please subscribe? Would you please subscribe? Because this middleman, Streamlabs, is really unpredictable. Here we are. This is Sunday yoga. I so love being here for you on these Sunday mornings. I cannot stress enough how deeply I love being a part of your lives, how much I honor your time and your energy, and I'm super grateful you're here. These yogic practices, these yogic teachings are here for us always and in all ways to live our lives with more grace and with more connection to a sense of peace and happiness within, and less of what we call reaction. Many of you have heard me say, we know our yoga is working when we have less reaction, less frequency of reaction, less intensity of reaction, and quicker recovery time. This is really the way it is and the way that it works for us. So here we are. We begin this practice today with our student-teacher prayer. And might I remind us that there is nothing in the student-teacher relationship that is more important than one's studentship. Not to the teacher, but to the teachings. So this is really the grace that we are wanting to tap into and tether into. What is my studentship? How do I tap into being a student on this path, in this life, on this journey? And so we call upon this student-teacher prayer that has been chanted for thousands of years as a way in which to align our vibrations. Me as teacher, you as student, me as student, you as teacher, us as students, yoga as teacher, us as students, this great grand universe as teacher. So we remember that. We are bringing that, remembering that. We're bringing that sense of disconnect or something's wrong here back into a state of grace. We chant this in call and response. This is in your practitioner's notes. And we send the breath from the crown of the head down and out the body to the belly of the earth, inhaling to the crown. Om, Om, Sahana, Sahana, Vavatu, Vavatu, Sahanau, Sahanau, Bhunaktu, Bhunaktu, Saha, Saha, Viryam, Viryam, Karavavahai, Karavavahai, Tejasvi, Tejasvi, Navadhitam, Navadhitam, Astu, Astu, Mavidvisha, Mavidvisha, Vahai, Vahai, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. So we have our practice of yoga, and I want to define, as if we are all innocent and of the beginner's mentality, what yoga is and ultimately what it is not. So yoga, with the capital Y, is the container of unity in which we exist. It is the oneness that cannot be denied, of which we are a part. So even though you come from the subtle and you exist in this material existence and you return to the subtle, never are you truly separate from the wholeness, from the one. So as if to say, this body is made up of all the minerals that this wooden platform on which I stand, or the earth on which I sit in ceremony, or the ground in which I walk, the air in which I breathe, the stars in which I see, the moon in which I honor, the sun that shines upon me. I am not separate from these things. I come from these things. Every bit of liquid in my body, I'm made up of 60 roughly % water, fluid in this body. It's essentially the same as on the planet, the same percentage, more or less. And every bit of liquid I have in my body has come from this planet, has it not? You started out as a speck, only a biochemical knowing in a pregnancy test in your mother. And you grew in form, and you essentially titrated the liquids and the elements, the waters and the earthen aspects and the fire aspects, to give yourself heartbeat and nerve endings and dendrites and all of this stuff in our bodies. But we are part and parcel of that subtlety. So yoga with the capital Y is that wholeness, that recognition that at no moment can the waves say, I am not part of the ocean. It comes up as wave. Is that a wave? For sure that's a wave. Is this a human body? For sure this is a human body. But am I separate from the ocean? Is this wave separate from the ocean? Never. Not possible. So that's yoga that I refer to as the capital Y. So when we say everything is sacred, when we say everything is divine, nothing is profane, everything is sacred, it's to say that there is no way to separate this entire universe from divinity. Even if you come in and through a Christian upbringing, right? If you come in and through a Christian upbringing, God created Satan. And so therefore, Satan is a wave in the ocean for divine purpose. So if you see things in the world as bad or as satanic in some way, evil in some way, when we take a step back, we say, everything is part of this whole. And I love the why like this, because it's just saying, this is one. This is one. It appears as this and that. It appears as black and white, but it is one. We are one. That's yoga with the capital Y. Yoga with the little y. Yoga with the little y is two. Yoga with the little y is what we do on the mat. And yet it's not what we do on the mat. In fact, we go through all the twists and switches and moves and shakes and getting hitches out of our get-along so that at the end of the practice, when we rest, either in Shavasana or in seated meditation, we can tether ourselves to that knowing that we are this, that all is this. So therefore, the reasons we've ever practiced yoga have everything to do with this, with the oneness. It's never about strengthening the low back, balancing the right and left side of the brain, getting great yoga arms or a great yoga butt, flipping that inversion. Right? None of the practices that we do on the mat have anything to do with those things, except for when we diminish the distractions that we have in our body, a weakness, an imbalance, an agitation, an anxiety, a depression, the inability to stay on the mat or the inability to get to the mat in the first place, feeling weak, feeling disabled, feeling out of sorts. When we diminish those things and we sort of we sort of release ourselves from all of those sorts of binding dislikes and binding likes, it is there that we experience the yoga. So the reason that yoga on the mat ever came to be, which by the way, the mat is brand spanking new as far as yoga is concerned. There were sheepskins and there was the earth, and that was it. Or skins of some sort in the earth. There were no rubber mats, and now most of our rubber mats have become synthetic mats, so they're petroleum. So we lose our connection further. Therefore, the whole reason that we do all those things on the mat is to clear this vessel, to open ourselves up again so that we can remember and feel and sense and know in our bones and blood and the marrow of our being that we are the yoga that we seek, that we are the wholeness that we're looking for, that the freedom that we're seeking already exists within our own hearts. And when we feel that, we can still go out and do the things that we need to do. Just like I need to give therapy to my shoulder, I might need to give that same sort of treatment to a system in the world. I never forget that it's all part of the whole. And I do my very best to honor the highest value in every human being so that they do not feel a need to resist. They do not feel as though they need to defend. This is the magic of Aikido. No defense needed. I take the energy, I say yes, yes, yes to everything that you are, and then I offer up this beautiful flower on behalf of divinity. So what is yoga? It's the oneness from which we come. What is the stuff we do on the mat? It's what we do in order to access that knowing in our bones and blood in the marrow of our being. So what I have come to learn, even though I have a degree in exercise physiology, I've had my anatomy and my physiology courses, I've had my biochemistry, I understand all of that. But over 30 years of practicing and teaching, I've slowly and steadily disengaged myself from having the practice be about biomechanics and be about technique and be more and more about, is the energy flowing freely in my body? Right? This is in your practitioner's notes, these 3 precepts. Is the breath free and easy? Is my spine long and neutral? And am I relaxed? Because those 3 precepts, when I take them out into the world, when I take them to the front line, when I take them to a meeting, when I take them into the courtroom, when I take them into the bedroom, when I take them into the school, when I take them onto the streets, is my breath free and easy? Is my spine long? Am I connected to the earth and to the heavens? And I feel and sense that connection? And am I neutral? I'm doing what needs to be done because what needs to be done, but I'm staying in that state of neutrality, sacred gray. No right, no wrong, no good, no bad, no black nor white. Just is. Just Dharma. Just like rubbing the cat from the head to the tail. So free and easy breath, long, neutral spine, relaxed body. Can I relax here? Because if I'm relaxed, I can access essentially the grace of my whole being, and I can access potential and possibility. So we're going to go really back to the basics today in terms of a practice. It's not going to be a big and challenging practice. However, there's going to be opportunities for you to go a little bit further. I'll give you those opportunities. You're also going to have opportunities, and this is the practice, for how it is that you back up a little bit. How do you relax out of what's being offered if you're feeling that you are no longer in a place where you have free and easy breath, long, neutral spine, and relaxed body. Okay? So we take that, remembering your studentship is more important than anything. We take all of that forward into our mat practice. Okay? So as you're ready, go ahead and find your way onto your back. Find your way onto your back. Take a few breaths there. Okay. So we're right here on our back sides with our knees at our chest. We bring our attention to our breath. We inhale and we exhale, and then we gradually just allow the feet to rest down. Bring our hands to our belly. We allow our knees to rest against one another. Walk the shoulder blades under the back side of the body, and then just lift the tail and allow the tail to surrender just a bit here. You feel how the navel center draws in and downward. You feel how the inhale ascends. We exhale, draw the navel center in and down. right here, we notice that the breath has the potential to be free and easy. We also notice our baseline. Do we feel tense or stressed? Is there something happening in our bones and in our body and in the marrow of our being that is challenging us in some way? And can we use the exhale to release just a little bit more? This is the freedom and ease of the breath. Can I tap into this here and now? I allow my head to just roll side to side. Remember, you can start any way that serves you. If you find that being here on your backside is not comfortable for you for some reason, you can be seated. You can make these adjustments however it so serves you. I'm going to go ahead and just shift my hips to the left side to make it easier to roll to the right. Then I press myself all the way up to my seat. From this place, I'm just going to cross my ankles and bring my hands to my knees. If this doesn't work for some reason, here's the work. You just extend the leg out. The key is you come to the basics of a seat. Ideally, if it's possible, you take a blanket that is well folded. And what I mean by well folded is I mean that there's no big lumps in it. It's well folded. It's the same height all the way across. And then I take that blanket and I just set it right underneath my tail. It's almost as though my yoni or my vaginal opening is forward of the blanket so that I feel a little bit like I'd be falling forward, but instead I just roll the shoulder heads down and back. I feel that there's an upward energy moving in and up the body. The practice of knowing that prana moves up the body on the inhale and down the body on the exhale is key. I'll say that again. The practice of knowing that prana, life force, moves in and up the body on the inhale and down and out the body on the exhale. This is key. And so we keep looking for the ways in which we can tap into this and tether into this. We allow our palms to face down, our heart center open, the crown of the head reaching skyward. In this way, as we touch into this and tap into this, we feel the grace of the breath. We lift the corners of the lips and the nostrils flare just a little bit. This is how we open ourselves to relax the liver, the second heart, as it is sometimes considered, the place of unfulfilled dreams. Corners of the lips lift and nostrils flare. We feel the roots down into the earth and we inhale. Feel the breath move in and up to the crown. It's as though the energy expands up and away, and then we exhale and feel the breath move down and out the body. We inhale and draw the breath in and up. We exhale and send the breath down and out. Let this be a continued practice for you. So you can come to this practice again. You can come to any of these practices. You can read through your practitioner's notes and write them out on cards if you so choose. Free and easy breath, long neutral spine, relaxed body. And then really delve into what those mean for you on the mat and in your life at large. Then remembering, secondarily, to those three precepts that prana moves up the body on the inhale and down the body on the exhale. That we're not actually doing yoga here, but instead what we're really doing is we're tethering ourselves to that deep and profound knowing that yoga is union, the union of the wave to the ocean, and never can that wave be separate. You are that integrated into wholeness that you can never be not enough or incomplete, because you are whole. You are part of the wholeness. The wave cannot be separated from the ocean. You cannot be separated from this whole, loving universe, divine universe. So So I notice if I'm leaning forward, I'm paying attention in the body. This is my tendency, I'm just saying that. Most of the things I say out loud are things that I'm practicing in my own body. As I lean forward, I feel my back gets a little bit tight. That's what I do. I drive forward. That's what I do. That's what this Britt does. So I'm going to keep bringing myself back. Can I relax here? Oh, that feels so much better. Can I relax here? Can my breath be free and easy? Can my spine be long and neutral? Nothing to defend, no reason to offend. So in this way, we're going to go ahead and bring our hands together at our heart center, just that remembrance. We draw the breath in and up to the crown of the head. One Om. Why Om? Ah, ooh, Birth, life, death. Beginning, maintenance, sustenance. Ending, the cycle. I want that cycle alive in my whole being. I bring myself now onto hands and knees. I'm going to go ahead and ground through my knees, shift my hips side to side. I look down at my hands. I'm looking for symmetry. I'm practicing symmetry. So my right and my left hand do their very best to be grounded down and to hold me stable and steady. I'm going to bring my right knee just a little closer to the midline. I just drag it to the midline and I lift up that left leg. I lift that left hip up and then I settle it back down to feel what it feels like to access a place where my hips are parallel to one another. I inhale, lift that left hip up. I exhale, release that left hip down. The crown of the head reaches out and away from the heel of the foot. I reach the right arm out long. This is a beautiful practice. You might feel really wobbly if you've not done this before. It takes a few weeks of practicing this and then it sort of clicks into the body. There's the inhale. As I exhale, I wake up my core, elbow and knee crossing. I inhale, reach out long. I exhale, reach across. I inhale, reach out long. I exhale, reach across. Two more. Inhaling, expanding. Exhale and crossing. One more time. Inhale and expanding. Exhale and crossing. As I'm ready, I inhale and reach out nice and long. And then I go ahead and bring that right hand down and that left knee down. I'm going to open my knees up a little bit. I'm going to roll my belly perpendicular to the length of the mat. I feel contraction in the navel center and in the musculature of the ribs as I draw in and up and I circle down. I reverse the direction. This supports digestion, not only of Twinkies and broccoli, but also of life experiences and media. And then as I'm ready, I'm just going to drag that left knee a little bit closer. I look at my hands. They're square again. I lift up that right foot. I let that right hip lift. And I feel that right hip come back into balance. I lift that right hip up. I bring that right hip into balance. I lift that right hip up again. I bring that right hip into balance. I reach my left arm out long and I feel that extension here. Notice how I'm both reaching out and extending and drawing energy into the core. There's my inhale. I'm going to exhale and take this across the midline. I inhale and reach it out long. I take it across the midline. I inhale out, prana moves up the body. I exhale, prana moves down the body. One more. I inhale, prana moves up the body. I exhale, prana moves down the body. I inhale, I bring my hand down. I open my knees. I look to see that the hands are even and I roll my belly here. Perpendicular to the length of the mat. Reverse the direction. All the way up and around that opposite direction. There it is. Now, so these are the things, right? You have symmetry between body parts. The breath is consistently moving up the body and down the body. I'm not going to concern myself with ujjayi. The ujjayi breath, where we hear the breath, is a traditional practice, but it is only heard when we learn it. and then we let go of that sound. So if you're still practicing that ujjayi with hearing it, be open to the possibility that there's another way that might tap you more completely into the subtle realms of being. From here, I'm going to reach back and settle down into child pose. So let your knees go where they're comfortable. Let your brow touch down. You can glide your arms back a bit if you'd like. Remember, you can do, you can not do, you can do differently. I like to let my body weight shift side to side here. It's not about entering a pose and sticking it, not Olympic gymnastics, but unifying practices. Sometimes I like to just be somewhere for a little while and then shift my arms again. I love rolling across the brow center here from the outer line of one eyebrow all the way in through the midline into the outer line of the other eyebrow. Those hips just shift side to side. And then walk my hands out, and I'm going to press myself up. So now it's just an exploration of movement. The more you can explore your movements on your mat, the better. Walk your hands on out. Lower down to your belly. Lift your head, snugging elbows in, and release down. Try that one more time. Lift up. And this time, tail scoots back. Hook the toes under to get a good stretch on the undersides of your toes, right? Your knees are held hostage between your feet and your hips, so we need those feet and hips to be really mobile. Brow touches down. If your knees can't handle this child pose, what are your options? Anything that feels good is the first answer. Here's one option. If your knees hurt because you're on a hard surface beneath your mat, I say, put your blanket out so you've got a nice cush for your knees. And then as you're ready here, we're going to just look out at the space between your hands, bring yourself all the way forward and release back down. So the difference here between Cobra and upward facing dog, you can always choose one over the other, whichever one you want. Hands are here. We walk the thumbs back just below the breast line. Heels of the hands sort of snug against the ribs. So they're kind of tucked under the ribs, rather. The wrists snug against the ribs. And then I let the shoulder heads release down. I keep my feet down. I keep my pubis on the earth. And I inhale and rise. This is Cobra. And I release. I rise up again. This is Cobra. Elbows remain slightly bent. I release. I inhale again. Shoulders down the back side. I only lift as high as I can keep those shoulder heads down the back side. If I'm here, I'm here. If I rise to my fingertips, that works too. Sometimes it's nice to imagine that you sort of have a twisty that's holding your elbows together down by your waistline on the back side. Now, if I press through the hands, walk them a little further back, press through the tops of my feet, lengthen out through my crown, snug in, press up to the tops of my feet. This is upward facing dog. If I come here and my shoulders are here, I want to release down, scooch myself forward, get up and out of there, come through Cobra, and then lift into upward facing dog. I want the shoulder heads down and back. I want to feel as though the low back is extended, not contracted. I release down again. All of these things are beautiful practice for your wrists. I bring my hands right underneath my chest. I inhale, snug my elbows down. I send my tail to the sky. I walk my feet. I let the crown of the head weigh heavy. So I look back at my heels and I want to hide the heels. What do I mean by that? The heels are not necessarily visible or only minimally visible behind the ball of the foot. I press through the palms of my hands. I can look out at them to see that they're even. Spread my fingers. Middle fingers face forward and all 8 remaining fingers spread out, fan out from that point. I feel the palms rooting. Points of the elbows turn in the direction of the shins. Ears between the arms. I start with bent knees. I send my sits bones up to the sky and then I work my heels in the direction of the earth. My ears are between my arms. This is my downward facing dog. I then go ahead and gaze at the space between my hands.
And I'm going to walk my shoulders over my hips, so my bum is up, and I'm just going to walk my feet up to the space between my hands. Crown of the head weighs heavy, back of the neck is long. I allow the torso to weigh heavy. I was listening to a teaching from my teacher this morning, and he said, I saw a t-shirt that says, all that bends well ends well. And I thought, yep, that's right. So that's what we're doing. We're bending well, keeping our integrity as we bend so as not to break, so as not to lose our balance, so as not to lose our yoga. Crown of the head weighs heavy, and I'm just going to roll up here, one vertebrae at a time, coming all the way to standing. Let those shoulder heads rise up, back and down. Forward, up, back and down. I bring my big toes together. So when we stand in mountain pose, you can stand as such with your big toes together. If you feel better, open those feet if you lose your balance. If it just feels like you're standing on the tip of a pencil lead, go ahead and just relax there. Whatever works for you. Shoulder heads up, back and down. We bring those hands into the heart center. We send shoulder heads down. Samastitihi, this balancing pose right here. Hands at the heart center, pressing down through the ball mounds of the feet. We're going to release the arms down. Let the eyes look out. Whenever possible, if your eyes are open, they just look out over the horizon. Not anchored to the earth, and if they are anchored to the earth for balance, they're far out and down, opening through heart center. I rise to the balls of my feet. I press down through the ball mound of the foot. Right at the center so my feet don't fall outward. I release the heels down. I look out, I inhale and rise to the ball mounds. Feeling my balance. I release those heels down. Ball mounds. So I feel that there's an inner and outer line of the front of the foot. And I feel that there's an anchoring down in through the inner and outer line of the heel while all the time the arch of the foot is lifting. Pressing through ball mounds, opening up through heart center. All the while, this heart center is just lifting you upwards toward divinity. Ah, yes. And we release down. We bring those hands into the heart center again. We send the breath down and out. We're going to inhale, take those arms up and above the head. From here, go ahead and just rotate in one direction. So we're taking a standing twist. And what I offer is we want to keep this hip that's back forward. The thumbs face up or palms face up so that the shoulder blades can soften down the back side of the body. My eyes track back. All rotation initiates with length. So I want to lengthen first. So I can come out, lengthen, and rotate from that length. I melt the arms down. I inhale, take those arms up and above the head. I exhale, bring the hands in and through the shoulders. Notice how that left hip wants to cock back. I'm just going to soften through the knees, bring it forward again. Eyes track back. I can inhale back out of it just a little bit, lengthen, and then rotate again. I want you to feel for free and easy breath. You always want to be able to breathe here. You always want to feel some sense of neutrality and lengthen your spine relative to the pose. And you always want to ask yourself and find just a little bit more relaxation here. Softening down, we release those arms. We're going to bring our hands to our knees. I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to open my feet just a little bit, slide my hands down to my knees, and I'm going to rotate through. Remember, your feet are essentially held hostage, or your knees are held hostage between your feet and your hips. So we're going to be working both of those. Rolling from blade edge to ball of the foot to blade edge back. You have over 7,000 nerve endings. In your feet, you have 26 bones in each foot. Reverse that direction. We want to keep those feet grounded. It's more than a physical reality. It's your whole being. We come to the heels, we roll to the balls of the feet. We come to the heels, we roll to the balls of the feet. We come to the heels, we roll to the balls of the feet. We release those heels down, we rise up. We open the feet up just a smidge. We roll through knees, circle the knees. Let the feet just do what they do naturally. Reverse the direction. All the way around, all the way around. There it is. We soften through the knees, we rise up. Come to the top of the mat, we bring our hands together at heart center. We look out over the horizon. Another practice, we want to feel the crown of the head lift us up. We feel the arches of the feet are connections to the spaciousness in the crown of the head, up in and through the crown of our being. Feel for space in and up through arches all the way up. Feel the front, inner and outer line of the foot and the heel, inner and outer line, grounding you down like cream poured across the earth. Arches rise. Space between lower bones in your legs and upper bones in your legs. Space in the pelvis. Hands at the heart center. Lift the chin gently. Let the chin come forward subtly. Drop the chin. Draw it in and back. Notice what happens when you draw it in and back to your low belly. There's a deep connection to the balance of where your head is in life and who you are and how you are in the world. So we feel the crown lengthen. We reach the head forward. We draw it in and back, and we feel how that zips us energetically in and up. So we're not leaking energy. This is key. Everything you do on the mat, done with consciousness, helps access a greater presence in the world at large. Hands at the heart center. We soften through the knees. We inhale, reach up and back. We exhale, forward fold. Notice how the tail goes back. I don't want to be rounding through the back. I want to keep breath through the small of the back. I let my belly rest down, and then crown of the head weighs heavy. I inhale and let the eyes gaze forward. I exhale, and I'm going to step the right foot back. So I'm just going to feel into this. You want to really work those feet apart so your front knee is over your heel, not over the ball of your foot. Lengthen out through your rib cage so you're nice and long on that left thigh. And the left hip lifts up just a little bit, wrapping back. The low belly lifts in and up toward the sternum. Crown of the head reaches out and away from that right heel. We release that right knee down. Classical practice. Release the top line of the foot. If you sit a lot, if you drive a lot, if you're on your computer a lot, if you watch a lot of TV or sit and hang out on your phone, you want to open through that hip here. You can walk up this left leg if you want. You don't have to. You can stay right here. This is enough. If you want to walk up that left leg, literally walk up it. Bring your hands to the crest of the hips. Feel that left hip wrap back. Feel the low belly lift and the sacrum descend. We inhale, float the arms up. We exhale, release the hands down. We hook those back toes under. We're going to step the left foot back to meet the right. When your wrists are the limiting factors, you can always come to your knees and scooch back. You can come to your forearms. That's an option. The way we strengthen through wrists is by practicing being on wrists. So we must do a little bit of it in order to feel into that strength. We hover forward, release the knees, lower down to your belly. Crown of the head rises, snug the elbows in. We exhale and release. Close your eyes, and can you feel the neutrality in your spine even as you lift? Stop before you feel resistance. Can you swallow? This is key. If you can swallow, this is an indication that the energy can move freely up and out of the body. One more time, hook the toes under. Inhale, exhale, send the tail to the sky. We pedal from foot to foot. We're just going to take a little detour here. We're going to rise to the balls of the feet and then swivel both of your heels to that left side. Let your toes snug back in the direction of your shins. Let your left elbow spiral in the direction of your left outer lower leg. And then soften through the knees, bring it all the way back to center. Square your feet, rise up to the balls of the feet, swivel everything to the right side. Navel center draws in. Feel that nice long length along the left side of the body. Right elbow spiraling toward that outer right shin. Soften through the knees, bring it all the way back. Heels walking down. We're going to raise the left leg up to the sky. This is just an expression of practice. We're just clearing out the cobwebs. Now we're going to really open through the hip. Let that left hip open. And then let the left knee come into the eyebrow center. Stack shoulders over wrist. Send the leg up to the sky. Open the hip. Knee into the eyebrow center, rounding. Send it up again, open. Knee into the eyebrow center, rounding. Send that leg back up and open. And then step that left foot all the way through. Coming out a little differently, we're going to spiral that right heel down and lengthen right here. So all we're doing is clearing cobwebs. All we're doing is looking at life and saying, what have I been doing? And how do I clear out any stagnancies? How do I strengthen what has a propensity to be weakened? How do I open what has been closed? How do I invigorate what has been dying or sleeping? I walk up that left leg and I bring my hands to the crest of my hips. I look at that left foot, I turn those toes ever so subtly out, but I'm really looking for what's going on in the pelvis. I want freedom here. I'm not going to lay out a whole bunch of technique here, except for the foundation. We want the whole foot rooted and the arch lifting. We want the whole foot rooted and the arch lifting. We want there to be freedom in the pelvis. Lengthen the spine. Free and easy breath. Long, neutral spine. Relaxed body. The deeper you sit, the more strength is required. If that knee is cocking over the front line of the foot, you might feel more pressure in the knee joint. Just saying. Choose differently if that's not working for you. We take the hands in toward the armpits, spiral the hands and float the arms up. I look skyward, I glide the shoulder blades down the back side of the body and I breathe here. And I swallow. If I can't swallow, I make an adjustment in my head. I want my fingertips to be relaxed. Big inhale here, I bring my hands to my shoulders. And then from here, I'm going to keep that left knee open and I'm going to open my right foot. I sink in here. Extending and bending, opening through heart center. I reach those arms out nice and long. I let my eyes track over that left hand. I close my eyes and I just feel into my body what's working for you. What do you want to do? What do you want to do differently? What do you want to not do and why? Sometimes when we feel resistance, it's because we just don't like going there because we don't like being uncomfortable. I say if you've got a diminished capacity for feeling uncomfortable, go in there and see if you might be comfortable in the discomfort. Glide that right arm down the back body, left arm sweeps up and back, big inhale. Arching, expanding. I then take that left elbow to the knee. I float that right arm up to the sky. Spreading those left fingers, but not gripping out. Nothing's like eagle talons, huh? Everything is free and easy in breath. Long and neutral in spine. And body's doing its very best to be relaxed. I let this right arm just melt down to the earth. I let the left hand come to the outside of that left foot. I go ahead and step back into downward facing dog. I inhale to the crown of the head, audible sigh. Inhale to the crown. One more time. Look out at that space between my hands and walk my feet up there. Right on up there I go, crown of the head heavy, back of the neck is long. Torso surrenders. What bends well, ends well. And the end is really just the place and the space for a new beginning. Soften through the knees. Heels of the hands come to the base, or the top rather, of the lower leg. Exhale and release. And then slide above the knees, base of the thighs. Inhale, press and rise. We come all the way up. Keep those arms up. Exhale, make a W with those arms to open through heart center. Draw the chin in and back. We want to keep feeling into this expansion on the front line of the body, this openness, this heart center, this wide open, graceful place and space. We release those arms down. We're going to go ahead and open our feet and just roll the pelvis around, big circles. We're splitting up this pelvic movement, but again, we want those hips and those feet to have lots of mobility, lots of freedom to move, because ultimately your knees are held captive. And if you got something going on in your knees, there's a darn good chance it's initiating at the feet and being exacerbated in the pelvis, or initiating in the pelvis and being exacerbated in the way you're gripping and holding. We ground through the feet. We bring our hands to our heart center. We send breath down and out the body. We soften through the knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up and back. Feel the low back lengthen. This is key. Low back lengthens. I can swallow here. I inhale and rise. I exhale and forward fold. Crown of the head weighs heavy. Back of the neck is long. I use every exhale to send breath and energy down and out the body. Every inhale to ascend. Doesn't mean it's the only way, but this is the natural direction of prana with a capital P. We have 5 pranas, little p's. 5 pranas that make up vata dosha. But what we're talking about here is the richness of the life force that pulses through all of creation. That is the reason that your heartbeat even started when you were in the womb of your mama. Inhale, eyes gaze forward. Exhale now, we're going to go ahead and step that left foot back. You get a good length in there. Don't worry about it if you really got to sort of work it back. Never you mind. It's all good. Feel the crown of the head reaching out long. That rib cage reaches out away from the crease of the hip. And we release that knee down. Release the top of the foot. So I really want that knee nice and far back. This is a good old thigh stretcher opener. Crown of the head reaching up and away. I can stay right here, or if it works for me, I can go ahead and walk up that leg. I don't want to be on my kneecap. I want to be above my kneecap. I bring my hands to the crest of my hips. Glide my shoulder blades down. I feel that left hip draw forward. This right hip is wrapping down and back. I float the arms up and above the head. I inhale. If I want, I can just stay right where I was, and that's glorious. And then I bring my hands gradually, subtly down to the earth. And then from here, I'm going to hook those back toes under, and I'm going to lift on up, and I'm going to step that right foot back to meet my knee. I look at my hands before I go there. Crown of the head releasing, points of the elbows spiral in the direction of the shins. Can you feel the length between each and every vertebrae? Can you feel the bottommost rib like a magnet drawing in? Not sucking in, you're not sucking anything in. You're just feeling the energetics magnetizing in toward the core. Rise to the balls of the feet, swivel both feet to the right side. Give your weight this time to the right hand and let your left hand come to your right leg. Right elbow spirals in. If this is too much, guess what? Do differently. Left hand stays down. Bring that left hand on and down. Come in and through. Ears between the elbows. Rise to the balls of the feet. Swivel to that opposite side. Left elbow spirals in. Right hand comes to the left thigh. So you're feeling into those core muscles. Intercostal